Robert Sheesley. I'm the Chief Information Officer with Wrench Group. As the Chief Information Officer, I'm responsible for all data, information, computing platforms, telecommunications. So really anything that has to do with technology that helps our operators run the business. And I collaborate routinely and frequently with our C-suite, our CEO, CFO, CMO, and deliver technology services to those business units. Certainly trust is a key aspect of our organization being successful. And so you have to have a strong ear, meaning listening to the business community and the stakeholders on what their needs are. We definitely have a set agenda, especially when we acquire an organization, because we want to migrate that organization onto our core computing platforms as quickly as possible. However, we want to do it in a way that isn't, we always lead with do no harm. So our plan is not to harm the operations of the business, but to migrate them onto our core computing platforms. So that whole trust thing comes with management of expectations. I was at a conference recently, and one of the keynote speakers was a former SVP at Disney, and Lee Cockerell was his name. He's an author of a number of books. And he said one of the greatest challenges businesses have today is clarity of expectation. And I took that to heart because I think there's a lot of truth to that. You have to be able to establish some credibility with these acquired companies and the leaders of them. And then you have to understand and message on what the expectation is of them and what their expectation should be of you. And having that two-way communication channel, I think, is very, very important at the senior level and at the the boots on the ground worker, everyday work level, middle management. I encourage our team, which is relatively lean. We only have about 26. Actually, we have 30 IT resources now, and we're a 6,500 person organization. So you do the math on that; it's not terribly a great percentage. We also have vendors that we rely on heavily as our business partners. But I encourage all of our team to engage in routine, frequent conversation, two-way conversation with our operators and our brands to make sure that we punctuate and we experience and achieve that clarity of expectation. They're very interested. Our board is very interested, most notably in our digital transformation strategy and roadmap and how we are making it easier for the consumer to do business with us. And then, of course, on the back end operations, efficiencies of scale, taking an opportunity to look at our processes, harmonize those processes across all of our heterogeneous brands. And we still maintain a level of autonomy within those brands because we are very acquisitive. So when I started, we had 4 brands, and now we have upward of 26, maybe even 27, because I think we just did an acquisition in Maryland. So we are very acquisitive, and we also are very interested in increasing the operational growth organically of our brands. The board has been very engaged in a lot of the work that we've been doing in the digital space. So I partner with our CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, Megan McNally, very closely. And we have a story that we routinely add to as we have board meetings because we've got a long-term roadmap based on our digital strategy. I attend events such as this, and I'm always talking with my direct reports and our team as a whole in making sure that you're taking advantage of the resources that are available to you. Organizations like Hot Topics and others bring together a lot of thought leadership, right? And practitioners in the IT field that you can learn from. I'm a strong advocate of being not only a teacher, but a student. And so I come to events such as this to make sure that I'm sharpening my saw to channel my inner Stephen Covey on all of the technology. I'm going to be attending tomorrow, actually, the Economist's Commercializing Quantum Conference. I don't think we're going to be onboarding quantum in our business anytime soon, but I want to continue to maintain some level of awareness and understanding of the new technology that's out there. We're about to turn the corner on our data and analytics capabilities, and we'll be looking closely at AI and how AI can continue to support more efficient workflows within our business models, as well as the ability to reach customers in more efficient ways and find prospects that ultimately will become customers of our business. At the end of the day, it all comes down to people working with people. And so I think, back to the clarity of expectations throughout my career, especially in the M&A space, notably during post-deal integration, you encounter a misunderstanding of expectations oftentimes because you're moving so fast. And so making certain that the stakeholders that you're working with understand kind of the playbook that you are using, and then being able to, having been in the U.S. Marine Corps, one of our standard mottos is overcome, improvise, and adapt. And I think I got those in reverse order. It's improvise, overcome, and adapt. But you have to be able to apply that, I think, to, we just heard a panel discussion on data strategy and the need for consistent course correction when market influences change the kind of platform, the environment. You have to be able to have a strategy that you can course correct that's a little pliable. And I think baking into your strategy the opportunity to make those course corrections, adapt, overcome, improvise, I think is really, really important. So that's been a key core competitive advantage for us as an organization, and in me in my career, is to be able to apply those thoughts and techniques to be able to recognize something coming down the road that requires some adaptation and improvisation to achieve the goal that's been set for the organization. I'm a big believer in strategy maps and creating strategy maps for our organization. So we took our business strategy, and from that we interpreted what our IT strategy is. So specific strategies for us that has been successful is our M&A playbook and how we go about not only acquiring organizations, but integrating those organizations into our technology environment. And so having done that a lot in my career at places like Anderson Consulting and Alvarez & Marcel and West Monroe Partners, I'm bringing a lot of experience into this role as CIO of Wrench Group to help our organization kind of adapt to this idea of getting acquired and then being migrated to core computing platforms. So in terms of strategy, we've got a 4-phase strategy that we take all of our acquisitions through as we acclimate them to the Wrench Group family, and that's stabilize, optimize, transform, and disrupt. And so at any one time, we're on one of those parallel paths with all of our brands. The transform and disrupt is happening notably in the digital marketing space right now. At some point, we'll turn our attention to operations to see how we can achieve efficiencies with more capabilities like robotic process automation, getting more productive, taking very highly manual intensive activities and transitioning them to automated capabilities within the operations of the business. Yes, I think the networking is clearly one of the takeaways that I have experienced since participating in the studio last March in person um, at and then in October virtually. But I'm glad to be here in person again. I think the networking and the relationship building is key. And with the panel discussions and the speakers, there's always nuggets of information that I take away and then I reflect back on. And then sometimes I actually follow up and contact either one of the speakers or the panelists to establish a little bit more of a dialogue about the topic that they were presenting on. I think that's increasingly important. And I think, again, by attending events and leaning in to offer stories around successful implementation of sustainability within their own organizations. We're a private equity organization. We've grown tremendously, so we probably are not nearly as mature as other organizations in this space. So one of the areas that I routinely discuss with our partners is what are they doing and how can we learn from them? Because our larger partners like Verizon and others that are probably a little bit more mature and sophisticated in this area, we can learn from them. It's challenging. We work with some pretty good recruiting partners, and we rely heavily on their capabilities. One in particular, Insight Global, which is actually part of our private equity Portco family, has been a new partner that we've brought on board, and they've really produced some good qualified candidates for us in certain key positions, most notably in data engineering and data science. And I think it's an ongoing concern for us, the ability to find the right talent. And we always try to balance the skills and capabilities of candidates with our understanding during the interview process of their cultural fit. Can they fit within the culture of Wrench Group, which is highly collaborative? So I tell our team all the time, and I think the response has been very positive. There are no heroes. We either win or lose together. So I try to create this and foster this team-oriented view of work. With the remote hybrid model that we are experiencing post-pandemic, I think people are getting a lot of time back in their personal life, which is extremely valuable. We just got to figure out how to continue to make sure that we're connecting with relationships, even though there are people situated and working from a lot of different geographies. There are some roles that are and can be 100% remote. And I say that with tongue in cheek because, again, I always feel like the face-to-face offers new opportunities to innovate. And I just did a discussion recently in an interview talking about the need to embed innovation in everything that you do. So I try to encourage during the recruiting process for candidates to talk about what experiences they've had with innovation and how they see that continuing if they were to join our organization, knowing that we have a hybrid work model where a lot of the personnel are remote. And one of the ways I try to bridge that gap is visit locations where there are some percentage of IT employees available to meet with, even for a half a day. And so rather than have everybody come to one location, I and my senior leadership team try to get to them more frequently than asking everyone come to a location. I think that means going beyond your day job and paying it forward in the industry. I've been a strong proponent of myself personally getting involved in a lot of nonprofit activity. as a board member and as a volunteer. And I try to encourage our team to think about how to fit that into their work-life balance. It's not for everyone, but there's not a whole lot of blockers, I think, if you want to get involved in some capacity. It depends on your willingness to free up some time. And I think anytime you can lean in and pay it forward to organizations that do good in the world, I think benefits you as a person, and it benefits the organization collegially.